Vicky. This is John. He did all the work. He did everything. And there's Herb. Herb came to help. Hi, Herb. Nice Oktoberfest t-shirt, sweatshirt. Looks good. Supervisors.
You guys might want to wait till he gets back there. You may want to go with him this first. Yeah, rather than pick it up twice.
The thing is, when you get it up, you get it able to swing it around.
We'll see where he's back.
All right. Mike, once you get a question, we'll take that box underneath there when we're up there. Where somebody can't get their fingers underneath them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may last a little bit.
We'll get some.
You know, it's surprising.
But I can, you want me to, let me take these plastic off. You've got enough padding.
No,
That's the artist, yeah. That's the only place.
the one of them.
And then Larry and Eric and Steve, those are his boys.
What's that do there?
On a nice warm day, sunny day, wax them when they're warm. And wax goes on real easy when it's warm.
Yeah. And I'll pull my car out there too, Herb.
Yeah, and you can wax your car too.
Nautical lover. And,
That reminded me of boot camp. We polished all the brass. Don't step on my bright work.
Guys, didn't know you'd be famous, did you? Yeah, really. This is liability coverage. And if you want it, it's yours.
What do you think? 3?
For me, it would be so proud.
Here, no.
So if I get a picture of the guy, he's clear back in the back.
I'll get up a little higher on your side.
Yeah, I gotta let you know, we just put it.
Yeah, just know with the back and do the same thing. Next thing we'll do, we'll get 2 pads down in this rear end. You guys want?
service? I don't know, they're all looks like a
Yeah.
That's not German. Over here.
It's like St. Patrick's Day. Everybody in Franklin becomes Irish.
But all German Christians are the ones that headed it up.
Doesn't look that tall laying down like that, does it?
No, it sure doesn't.
Couldn't find the crank.
That was the funniest part when I
I robbed the one under your seat. Oh, I put it back. And you right away.
And so the next day I brought the tree out of my trunk and I said, I'm here with the tree. He said, well, what'd you drive? I said, my car. And then so I look of relief on his face like, oh, okay, we can do this now. He's terminal.
Body parts.
Well, we're loading the molds.
The tree is going to, there's a huge room out back, and it'll lay there on a slab or up so that, you know, something has here. So, then I'll have to do it around.
I can see he's not ready for us yet. We got 2 more models.
We'll be going up in here in short order.
That's what I'd do, just lay him up against a...
There goes the first bronze aboard the truck. Little boy blowing bubbles.
Watch that tail. That's a home wrecker tail.
Yep. Knee wrecker. I've been through that once already.
Watch your feet. You all right?
Yeah.
He's trying. Nice way to say you weren't really doing it.
Yeah, I did.
Hot condition a little bit.
Watch that tail again.
Get that cat out of here. Hold on.
No problem.
You have room now? You want to go in here?
These will be loaded presently.
Is he the one that's going to big tail?
Yeah.
Brad's got it made now. He's
Yeah, damn piece of things I can't.
15 years old. Can't hear a thing. He makes a beeline for the trash. You let him out the door.
He's got a circulation problem. His coat.
You know, I've gone outside and worked on bronzes when they've been, you know, in the wintertime, and there is nothing colder than putting your hands on those darn things. Oh, it's just unbelievable.
Stand up, chicken bowl.
And they
Well, I
constantly...
bet when they're hot, though, you can't touch them either.
That's right, that's right. Whenever you want to wax them or something like that, you wait for a day like today where the sun's nice and warm and let them warm up a little bit. Put that wax on and it just melts and sets right in.
You got a gate on this guy. Hold on, just.
my young days, not my old.
I had my back go out just
Yeah,
a
me
few
too.
weeks ago. It's supposed to be my L4 and my L5 or something or other. And then all the pain was in my knee. It wasn't my knee just swelled.
We had what they call a bowling banquet after the end of our bowling league. On Saturday night we usually have entertainment, put on skits and stuff like that. And they brought in these.
Yes.
She's probably the heaviest one of the bunch.
Watch the back.
It would be the way I'm picking it up.
A little bit more, and you can catch it in the end.
Yep.
Am I getting your
Oh, you're fine. We have one more bronze to load, and they'll just about all be loaded. We'll be bringing it out that door pretty quickly. Everything has gone really smooth.
We will be in a second.
I think that one that Richard told that people were so them up there in Missouri.
Whatever, I guess, whatever you set up for. Yeah. Larry, what's this time for lunch?
First thing, I gotta go get a,
That's all.
gotta go to get a weight. So I'll be going back in the office to get a weight, and then over to Frank. Yeah, either way. Is she gonna just pick it up and meet us there? Yeah, you can have it delivered here, that's fine. Okay, well, we're not gonna take it inside. That works, yeah.
ETA.
What time?
It's 20 to 12.
Turn over next door. 127. 120. So I'm saying, hour and a half to here, Steve. No, I'm going further. We're coming, Larry.
Slave driver, let me get the pads laid out.
Boy, this last one looks like a real happy bumper. You know why I get that down? That's that on there and be on the radio. That's gonna
I forget which ones they loaded.
Larry, we got two guys. Really not any bigger than Oh, I can't wait for it to get cold. It will be.
Oh, yeah.
It's snowing.
problem, huh?
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's the last of the movie.
You got another cart somewhere?
Oh, mine was downstairs.
We, Ackerman or something like that.
See, what I'm doing here is I'm getting footage.
Do you want me to get that bag full of? Because I'll take it down the basement room where I'll box it up. Because I've been doing that.
You know, I went down a car today and I cleaned out my office. I got on my thing.
I like the color. They had the curtain up.
Oh, here comes the head engineer, finally. Not you, Herb.
Larry, I almost went back and the girl could come down a little bit more. Okay, James, we're going to take this one.
There's a little boy sitting next to the HLK plaque. Everything's wonderful. But she loves their tour.
Set them up on the bed. Ready?
Hold the ball yet?
think the thing to do now is we need to mark some holes and drill them because we want to be satisfied where they're at because
Once we start.
once we start, pieces are pretty much in place, pretty much where we want them right now. Going for the speed there.
Yeah, that's right.
I need to get extended out, or you gotta get wedged back yet? Wait for the wedges, right? Why, if they got a... That's what they want.
Now, Randy, you're going to control this one.
Want me to extend that out a little more to get it straighter in the hole? Is that what we gotta do?
Well, we're going to have to, yeah.
Not what to do. That's good. Oh, yeah? That's good. Just freeze until we get the wedges. They got their hard hats on? Just do the picture.
Here and to see so many wonderful faces and dignitaries and town leaders and just the wonderful bunch of people. On this momentous occasion, the remarks that I have here, the idea came to life during the 1991 Bavarian Festival. Maybe I should lead in, actually this fountain was in memory of H.L. Kyneth. Now, many of you here may not know that. And when Herb passed away in 1968, a fund was begun because Herb and Edna always envisioned some fountain here in Frankenmuth, but we could never come to grips with how big or where it should be located. And so Edna and Tom Fector and several other community leaders, I think Pete Simon was in on that, and we got together, and it took several years to come up with the finances, but ultimately in the late 70s, we finally got the basic fountain in. And then in 1987, the sesquicentennial, we embellished it a little bit further with some additional fountain, some additional water in the, to make it a little more attractive. Also, lights were added, colored lights, so that it would be more enhanced. But the one thing that Tom and I talked about over the years was some sort of a statue or a figure head or a bust of some type, but we never could quite come up with the exact idea. Well, thanks to Annie Rummel, our executive manager of the Chamber of Commerce, one day was walking along here with her little daughter Elizabeth when she came up here, she was always attracted by the water running around the fountain. And Annie immediately started thinking it would be beautiful to have some young children in bronze. I don't know if she came up with the idea for bronze, but some sort of little sculptures around the fountain. And a sculpture depicting children at play around a German maypole could be added to the existing fountain on the grounds of the Frankenmuth Chamber of Commerce. On July 31st, 1992, Annie Rummel met with artist Larry Weatherholt of Decatur, Illinois. Now, during this meeting, Larry sketched, as Annette described, what the project was to look like. Annette then asked Larry if he could make a miniature version of the sculpture so that it could be presented to the community. Larry created a three-dimensional view of the sculpture, and a series of meetings were held with individuals involved with the development of this area designed as the H.L. Kyneth Memorial Fountain. These individuals included Edna Kyneth Rutkowski, Gary Ruprecht, Mayor of Frankenmuth, Charlie Graham, the city manager, Richard Kraft, Tom Fechter, Don Keller, Irene Zeilinger, past executive manager of the Frankenmuth Chamber of Commerce, and myself, a member of the Herb Kyneth, all members of the Herb Kyneth Memorial Fountain Committee. Each of us gave our blessings to move forward with the project. Richard Kraft accepted the chairmanship and committed to lead the fundraising efforts. He was joined in this fundraising effort by Don Keller, Tom Fechter, Annette Rummel, and myself. The fundraising efforts began on March 25th, 1993 with a series of informational meetings. Overwhelming words of support and enthusiasm were expressed by the Frankenmuth business representatives throughout these meetings. Financial commitments were secured, and the Maypole Structure Enhancement Project was then at the go status. A creative committee was named to begin phase 2 of the project, a committee of Judy Keller, Greg Rummel, Marie Fechter, Wally Brunner, Willie Rummel, Ken Nealing, Randy Brodingham, Annette Rummel, Vicki Hayden, Sherry Dodak, and myself was assigned to monitor the sculpture details, facial features, dress, and ethnic authenticity. After 2 meetings, Mr. Larry Weatherholt was selected as the project sculptor, and creative direction was given. Mike Petrucci of the Fine Arts Sculpting Center in Clarkston, Michigan, one of the finest casting facilities in North America, was also selected for the location of the bronze casting of the Maypole figures. At this time, I would like to introduce the sculptor, Larry Weatherholt, and his wife, Elizabeth, and his sons, Steve and Eric. Over here we have Mike Petrucci and his wife, Janet, and there's Charlene and Mike Petrucci, the son of the Fine Arts Sculpting of Clarkston. Now Larry and his 2 sons, Eric and Steve, put many hours into this project, and when it's unveiled, you'll certainly see the amount of effort and time that went into it. At this time, I would also, at the request of Richard Kraft, who was unable to be here due to business commitments, he sends his regrets and wants me to thank all of you and over 114 of the community-minded contributors that demonstrated their generosity to bring this point today. Over 95% of the funds have been received from the Frankenmuth business community. Individuals also gave in honor of Herb Kyneth. Donations were received from the general public and ranged anywhere from $5 to $1,000. The business community also demonstrated their appreciation of Herb's efforts by contributing in excess of $100,000. At this time, I I would like to call on His Honor, the Mayor of Frankenmuth, Gary Ruprecht. Okay. Phil Cummin, Kniskat, welcome and God's greetings. Just 18 days ago, the entire community of Frankenmuth was shocked with the sudden, unexpected death of Mayor Pro Tem Charles Kern. Community, city government, his business and family, friends still mourn his loss. I wasn't personally here back in 1968. I was in college at Michigan State. But to those that were here, those members of the council who I talked to, the mood of the community was very similar to what we just experienced in the last 2 weeks, when we lost our city manager, Herbert L. Kyneth, who died at the age of 55 on February 5th, 1968, 1 month after he was diagnosed having leukemia. His family and friends, especially Edna and her 2 sons, Tim and Tom, were extremely shocked. The business community, all the leaders were shocked that we lost such tremendous experience, as he was our chief operating officer of the city for the daily operations and planning of the city. What a tremendous loss. Herbert L. Kyneth was a very professional, visionary, hardworking individual who demanded and expected and settled for nothing less than perfection in laying the groundwork for the infrastructure in our fine city here as you see it today. He also was the driving force in moving us to incorporate it and to move to a city form of government. I'd like to, at this time, just introduce his wife Edna, just to rise, and her 1 son, Tom is here? Tim is here. Could you put up your hand? And Edna, I believe your husband, Walter Rukowski, also is here? Right here in front. Let's give him a hand also. Okay. I also failed Dwayne Eicher, who lived with the Kyneths and was brought up by the Kyneths, is also standing there with Tim. Let's also recognize him. In 1968, the JC Distinguished Service Award was presented to the late Herbert L. Kyneth, Frankenmuth's first city manager. Upon his death, the award was renamed in his honor. The HLK Award initially started as the Distinguished Service Award in 1967. The first recipient of that was Tiny Zender, who's also standing out here. As you know, it is given annually to a community member who has given his or her time and talents unselfishly to serve the community of Frankenmuth and its people. The JCs could not have selected a finer individual to dedicate this award to than Herbert L. Kyneth, because he exemplifies the meaning and spirit of this award. The community of Frankenmuth also embarked on erecting this memorial in his honor here, this fountain, for his visionary thinking. Because he demanded, expected, and settled for nothing less than perfection, as I previously mentioned, this memorial needed to be something special and of that same perfection. As Howard mentioned, the project has been completed in 3 phases. The initial fountain was completed. The paintings up here on the walls, the landscaping, and the brick monument with his bust on here was completed. And now the final phase, which thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and Annie Rummel was spearheaded here. And I'd like to recognize some of those individuals who took a big part in it, but there were many, many others, as Howard mentioned. Previous mayors, Pete Simon, who was out in the audience here. Raise your hand, Pete. Dick Kraft, Howard Wynn, our MC, Tom Fechter,
Chamber of Commerce, many businesses, city government, and many other, too many to mention here. I hate to pick names because you leave some out, but those are some of the key figures and those that Howard mentioned that were on the committee. In my opinion, none of this final phase would have happened without the tremendous effort and perseverance put forth by Annie Rummel during the past 2 years of design and construction. She did a fantastic and great job sticking with it, and I think we ought to recognize her. I think it would be especially appropriate to recognize that the business community of Frankenmuth has made a tremendous statement in their appreciation of the visionary thinking that Herb brought to this community 2 decades ago, and have not forgotten him with what we're going to unveil here today. As Howard mentioned, there were many, many businesses that contributed and some individuals, but about 30 Frankenmuth businesses provided over 90% of the funding for this last phase of the project. Many of them are out here today. The Herbert L. Kyneth family, who are with us today, and all of you, I think will be very pleased with the final outcome. It's a beautiful work of art, and even Willie Hilper, our Burgermeister over in Gunzenhausen, who is known as the Brunnen Burgermeister because he built fountains all over the city, would be proud of this structure. I at this time would like to first have Larry Weatherholt and his group come up here, the artists, to present them with a key to the city for their work. And then Larry just mentioned to me that he also would like to recognize God, because without his helping him lead the way, this would have never come together in the fashion that it did. I feel it's very appropriate for this community, which was settled for providing Christianity to the Indians that were here. So let's once again have a hand for God. And then the Petrucci's, who were the casters from Clarkston. I also have a key to the city for them. I feel that Herbert L. Kyneth, if he were alive today, would himself be proud of this beautiful fountain and the structures in the Mayfold that are going to be unveiled here today. Each of us, in our own way, has an opportunity to make America a better place to live. Perhaps the best way is to resolve and renew our commitment towards solving the problems right here in Frankenmuth and making it a better place to live. May this memorial serve as a lasting inspiration to all of us to have that same kind of visionary spirit and effort that Herb Kyneth had, and never give up as we go after the goals of making this community a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ruprecht. Is Irv Beans here? Irv is chairman of the Frankenmuth Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and that was the instrument we used so that these gifts could also be deductible on our income tax. So we thank you, Irv and Annie, for setting up this Frankenmuth Foundation, which we will use hopefully for other civic endeavors. Edna, I know you've been introduced, but I don't know if you'd like to get up and just thank the people for coming. We'd appreciate it.
I don't know what I...
Well, sure you can.
I was never made to talk, but I am very grateful for you people being here, the people that donated money for this, and most of all, to feel that Herb is still remembered so well. That means a lot. It's been a long time.
Thank you. Annie? Is it ribbon cutting time? Here, now you cut one. And if anyone would like to walk around and view the sculpture, feel free to do so, and then you're all invited to come back to the tent area for some refreshments. Even Tom Fector is invited. And by the way, I forgot to introduce a dignitary here, Senator John Siskey. We thank you for coming. Mike Goshka, welcome, Mike. Senator Siskey. Yeah, and County Commissioner Ken Horn. Thank you for coming, Ken. Yeah. Is Veronica Horn here too? Oh, Veronica, she represents Jim Barsha. He runs his Saginaw office. I was in Washington D.C. last week and found out that that a Republican's wife is working for a Democrat. So.
There's a busload of 30 people here from Larry Weatherall's hometown of Decatur, Illinois.
By the way, I'd like to welcome the group from Decatur, Illinois, the hometown of our sculptor, Larry Weatherholt. 30 of them are here in a busload. So welcome and thank you for coming to make this momentous occasion even more momentous.
Here's where all the working people are. Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, why wouldn't I recognize you?
Kind of a funny little Sea-Watch restaurant.
You know what happened? You know when we started that bill account for the now, I got the executive. I'm going to go around the post